Hello, my name is Lola. Welcome to my corner. Today we'll be talking about the book Mate by Ellie Hazelwood and why do I think it is better than Bride. So, this review will have some spoilers for Mate, the second book, and Bride, the first one, but I'll try not to spoil the ending. Alright, let's start. So, for starters, this book flew by really, really fast. Like, I bought it on the day it came out, and I think it was a Tuesday, and by Wednesday, it was gone. I had devoured it. And I feel like one of the main reasons why this book was easier to read, it is because it doesn't have the world building that Bride has. Because Bride has a lot of world building, and that slows the book down a bit. Mate barely has none. I mean, we get some new info, but it's basically the same word as Bride, and it just, keeps going with the story and expands it a little bit. So it's way lighter in that sense. And I feel like if you love Bride and you love, the world that Hazelwood has built, you will love Mate because it is the same world, it is the same setting, it is just, new-ish characters, characters that we know, some new ones, some old ones, and it just expands on it. And if you hated Bride because you felt like it was too much world building and not enough action, then I think you will like me better because it has less of, all of that explaining thing that Bride has. So to talk about the plot of Mate, I need to say, and I risk repeating myself, it is a little goofy. We follow the character of Serena, who is Misery's best friend from book one. And in the very end of book one of Bride, we learn that Serena is Cohen's mate. And this is a thing that we are not sure if Serena experiences as well. We know that Cohen does. And for some reason or another, they don't want to act on it. And I thought this was going to be like a very classic werewolf point where it's like, oh no, we are mated, but that's just like a biology thing, so I don't want to involve you, in my werewolf thing. But the plot itself is way more dense than that, and I say dense like in a good way because it's not like a very basic, oh, we have a mating bond that I'm fighting, and I like that. And I like that because it's interesting and it's new from what we usually have with those werewolf romances. Very much in the beginning of the book, we learn that Serena is facing this magical, mystical, horrible disease, like this specifically werewolf disease that she has. And it is lethal and it is incurable, and she will die in like the next 3 to 6 months, which is admittedly like a very interesting thing to like start your book with. But we basically learn that Serena is dying, and it can't be changed. She goes to all of these doctors, and she learns that she's dying. So the thing that she does is that she doesn't say anything to anyone that she's dying, and she basically just like isolates herself. And we learn that one of the reasons that she doesn't want to act, on her mating bond, I mean, besides the fact that Cohen, our main character, doesn't seem to want her, is because she also doesn't want to be with someone and like die and leave that person alone. So she doesn't want to like be with Cohen because then he would get attached to her and she will just die. So she kind of goes like, well, what's the point? And of course, it is like this miscommunication that Serena causes is a strong plot point of the book, and the fact that she doesn't want to talk to anyone about it is very weird. But I will forgive it because Serena does this on the first book. She fails to communicate with Misery, she fails to say anything to anyone, and that causes a lot of trouble. So I feel like this is on brand for Serena, and even though it is a little bit of the oh, the miscommunication trope, oh, but it's something that she does, so I forgive this in this instance because it's established that she's a character that has poor communication skills, and it's just like very awkward and does these things over and over again, so it feels very natural to her to don't tell anyone that she's dying, and of course this is a major plot point in the book. So on the other side of this uh, werewolf mating bond, we have Cohen, who is our main character. So I like Cohen. I don't like that he's older. I'm sorry, age gaps are not for me. I just imagine him younger in my head. But besides the fact that he's a little bit older than Serena, I think he's like 10 years older than her, which I mean, I don't like, but I also don't hate. He also doesn't act on his mating bond. And we learn a little bit to the second half of the book that the reason that he cannot act on this mating bond is not because, well, he's a nut job. It's because he has a chastity vow, because he's an alpha of a specific pack, and the alphas of the specific pack have chastity vows. And because of that, he cannot be in a relationship with anyone, sexual or romantic. So he can't physically be involved with Serena because otherwise he would lose his position as alpha. And we even get a little bit of plot for that. So apparently, this was because alphas, as they have like a natural dominion thing, like they dominate other people, they make people feel comfortable, and they make people want to obey to them. We have a story of a former alpha that did that and just like got in with a bunch of girls. And because of that, most of the packs in the past of the book were in the situation that the alpha had to have a chastity vow. And a lot of them abandoned that, but this specific pack didn't. And because of that, Cohen has a chastity vow that he cannot break, because if he breaks, he's no longer an alpha. And this is like a very delicate moment, politically speaking, so he really, really can't break it. So of course, this is like the situation where they're like star-crossed lovers. They absolutely can't be together because that's the whole point of the book. And I usually don't like that sort of thing, but I think it was well done in this book. Like, it was believable. The reasons that they have to not be together were very believable. And I liked it better because both of them had good reasons to not want to be with each other, which is not common. I feel like usually we have one character that has a good reason to not be with the other, and the other is just like blindly accepting it. And I don't like it because it makes the character that's blindly accepting it look stupid. Like, why aren't you questioning things? And the reason that these two are not questioning is because they have their own reasons. So I felt that this was well put together. So I read this book with a few other people, and like I said, I finished it really fast. So one of the things I did was like I kept watching, other people's reactions to it, and one of the people that were reading just said, "Wow, I can't wait for all the problems in this book to be solved by magical eggplant magic." And I wanted to say, well, you are not that far off, as crazy as it sounds. So, um, eventually in the book, Cohen discovers that Serena has an incurable disease, and since she's his mate, and at this point in the book they have been living together, they kind of have feelings for each other. Uh, he tries to, like, any way he can, he wants to fix it. So he takes her to another doctor, a doctor in his pack, and the doctor, of course, confirms that it's incurable, yada, yada, yada. And then a couple of days later, this doctor is discussing Serena's case with his wife, who happens to be an OB-GYN. And his wife tells him that even though the male doctors were not completely wrong, they failed to notice some other hormone things that were happening in Serena. Because the disease is supposed to be like a high cortisol level thing, but the doctors failed to see that she also had other hormones super high, specifically hormones related to the female reproduction system. And the doctor says that Serena will survive because she's not dying, she's in heat. And a lot of other plot things happen that I will not comment because they're more like the ending of the book. But basically, everything is indeed solved by magical eggplants. magic. And Serena and Cohen live as much as happily ever after as you get on a werewolf road. I wanted to stop and comment on this part because it felt so real to me. Like it felt so real. Like I had a very similar experience once. Like I was in a lot of pain and I kept going to doctors, and all the doctors would say like, "Oh, you have nothing. You just have like a painful period, or everything's all right." One of the doctors even said, "Well, you just have really bad anxiety. Like go home and like calm yourself." And I was like, wow, something is really, really wrong with me. And all of those male doctors were telling me that everything was all right with me. And I was just very nervous. And then when I finally got into a female doctor, I found out that I had a cyst on my ovary so big that I almost had to go into surgery right away. And the female doctor was so pissed about the fact that no one had noticed it, and that no one like took care of me the right way or thought to like investigate what was happening. And this is an everyday issue. Like a lot of women have PCOS, a lot of women have endometriosis, a lot of women have problems with their bodies that a lot of doctors don't think that they should investigate. And the fact that in this book, like it's a made up scenario, Serena has a made up disease in this made up world, but we have real problems. That is the fact that women's health is not taken as seriously as it should be. So I felt really, really touched by this part. It feels so real. I remember I once went with my sister to see like a doctor about her migraines, and the doctor just he didn't even talk to her. He just said, "Well, you're on the pill, so you should go to an OB-GYN. I can do anything to you." And then he looked at me and said, "You also have migraines because you're on the pill." And when I told him I wasn't on the pill, he just said, "Well, you are very fat." And he handed me a nutritionist's card. Like this was a real scenario that happened to me, and this is not even the craziest one. I have heard even crazier ones that happen to women. So the fact that Ailey Hazelwood chose to have this represented in this book felt like such a feminist move on her part. Like I know that kind of all the problems are solved with, magical eggplants, but still it felt so real. Like the fact that she couldn't know what was wrong with her and that she kept trying and all the doctors didn't know what to do. It was such an awesome thing to put in the book, something that I have never seen in a book, and I really needed to comment on it because it was an experience, like it was like a very refreshing experience to see this represented in a book, to see this acknowledged. I had enough like crazy medical experience to talk about for a whole hour of me, of people I know. I could just go on and on and on. But what I wanted to say was that even though this is like a made up scenario for a book, I really, really love Ailey Hazelwood for putting that in this book. Because honestly, periods are something that is not discussed. Even in real life, we cannot talk about periods. If you're a girl and you have your period, you have to hide, your tampons and stuff when you go to the bathroom because, oh, no one can know that you're on your period. No one can know that you bleed or you don't bleed because some women don't get their periods. And it's such like a heavy thing to carry as a woman, that no one wants to talk about it. Most books I read, modern books, fantasy books, science fiction books, they barely mention periods. Like sometimes I keep thinking, wow, how are these girls doing it? Because everyone forget that periods exist, for a long time. And even reproductive health issues, mostly we have ones that are only related to pregnancy, sometimes not even that. So it feels so refreshing and so innovative to have this discussed in a book because wanting it or not, the fact that Serena was into heat is a reproductive health issue that she had that only happened because she was a woman. So I really have to commend Ailey Hazelwood on that. It was such a nice thing to have in this book. So another one of the great points, like one of the greatest things that I found in this book was that when Serena finds out that she's dying in like 3 to 6 months, that she does a lot of things that you can like they are very parallel with what people with depression do. She basically hides herself, she cuts ties with a lot of her loved ones, she hides how she's feeling, she pretends that everything's all right, she tries to go far away. And one of the things that she does is that she says that she's usually very careful about her skin. She always wears sunscreen, she does her skincare. And when she found out that she wasn't living anymore, she just stopped buying sunscreen because she felt like there was no reason, like she was going to die. And that felt like it was kind of a metaphor for, how depression acts on people because, I mean, of course she was depressed. She literally thought that she was inevitably dying, in a couple months. And all of the process of how she makes peace with it, how she reacts to it, felt very beautiful. Even though like this is a werewolf romance, like I said in my previous Bride video, I don't think it's supposed to be taken so seriously. I feel that Mate has a lot of more serious points blended into it, and Serena's depression was really really nice to read how she overcomes that, how she opens up. It was so beautiful. And in the end, when she finally has that confirmation that she's going to survive, the first thing she does is that she says, well, can we go to a pharmacy because I need to buy sunscreen? And that was very, very gorgeous. That was beautifully done. I really liked that part also a lot. Anyway, this is a very solid werewolf book. I feel like it has all of the things that people usually love about werewolves. It has maids, it has pack dynamics, it has people showing up naked to your house, it has weird biological stuff, it has knots, you know, it has all of the nice things that a werewolf romance should have, in my opinion. And I really, really love werewolf romances. So this one, I feel like it was definitely one of the best werewolf romances I've ever read. And I mean, there are more serious werewolf books, but this one, I feel like it's a solid, even between the serious and the unserious ones. So because of that, I'm rating this book in the category of werewolf romances. This is my favorite. This is my top pick. I don't think it gets better than this in werewolf romances. You can feel free to attack me on this opinion, but it is my opinion. So this book is 5 out of 5 sprinkles for me, or even 5 out of 5 wolf like pulling his shirt out. Yeah, let's go with that. So anyway, that was my opinion on Mate by Ali Hazelwood. And those were the reasons why I think this book is even better than Bride, which was a solid book. Uh, anyway, I would love to hear your comments about it. So if you want to tell me what you felt about this book, or if you want to read it, comment down below. And again, thank you so much for watching. If you want, like and subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye bye. So I can't believe I forgot that I had like this very cute wolf plushie that I got at a crane game. Ah, alright, now the wolfie is gonna sit over here. Also very sad because we're ending Halloween season. I'll have to do Christmas decor. I guess I'm keeping it for the next month.